This is the one you've all been waiting for and asking for. So, if you are trying to get started with elimination communication or naturally potty training your baby, but you are starting with an older baby who is already mobile and well past that newborn 0 to 8 week stage that I talk about, is the easiest time to start. So, if you have missed that window and you are late to the party, or you have started EC with your younger baby as a newborn and now they're becoming mobile and you just want to be able to stay consistent through this relatively more challenging phase of EC, this video is for you. So today I'm going to share with you exactly why it's so challenging to get started with a mobile baby, or so any baby that is rolling. Once a baby is rolling, they are technically mobile and they can go places up until they are walking. That kind of like 4 to 12 month-ish stage is still very possible to get started with EC, but it's just a little bit more challenging. Why? Because your baby can now decide when they want to sit on the potty and when they do not. This is no longer you placing them on the potty and waiting until they go and deciding when to get them off. They are mobile, which means that they can now stand up and get off the potty on their own. So there is a quote by Marcus Aurelius that goes something like, "The obstacle becomes the way. That stands in the way is the way." So this applies so relevantly to potty training an older baby, because the fact that they are now more independent, they can make the choice to be there or not to be there. You really can work with that, and that is going to help you be more successful. All right, so there are three main challenges to getting an older baby to use the potty for the first time, or to maintain EC and potty training with an older baby, even if you've already started. So the first main challenge is going to apply to if you're starting new. If you have never introduced your baby to the potty before, and they have only exclusively used diapers for their toileting needs up until this point, then the biggest, first and foremost challenge that you are going to need to overcome is to just get your baby comfortable peeing and pooping outside of a diaper. They've never done it before, and their entire life they have been learning that you want them to poop and pee in a diaper. And so the idea of even having their diaper off and to relieve themselves away from that without it up next to their body, which is what they're used to now, feels uncomfortable. It can feel a little scary. And that feeling of, oh my gosh, that's different, I'm not used to that, is going to be more pronounced the older your baby gets. And so if you are watching this video now and your baby is anywhere like 15 months and below, please do not wait. Get started now. And I can help you with that if you're struggling. Members inside of my community are going to get personalized, ongoing support throughout their EC journey from starting all the way to full diaper freedom. But the sooner you start, the easier it is going to be, which is why I always encourage you, if you have a newborn baby or you're pregnant and you're about to have your baby, do not wait to get started. But you're here, you're starting with an older baby, and that's okay. I got you. Let's talk about how you can surpass that challenge. So one of the ways you can get your baby comfortable with peeing and pooping outside of a diaper is just let them walk around the house with no diaper on. Spend more time with no diaper on. Are they probably going to have an accident? Yeah, probably. So if you have a space in your home that has hard floors or tile, or you could just put blankets down or towels down that you don't really mind getting a little dirty, that's going to help just in case of an accident. We have hard floors in our house, and so we just keep a stack of cleaning rags and a little bit of vinegar spray, and we can use that to clean up accidents, which do happen, and it's just not a big deal when you're prepared for it and you know it's going to happen. So allowing your baby to have an accident, even a few times, is going to help them get comfortable with it. They're going to feel it come out, they're going to see it come out and be like, oh, I'm wet. Cool, that urge I just had, and now I'm wet. And they're going to be able to connect the dots. You can also use trainers. Trainers are unlike diapers. They are designed to feel wet, and so your baby will feel the accident immediately as soon as they have wet themselves. The problem with disposable diapers, and I know that many of you are using them because according to the data, about 95% of families in developed countries are exclusively using disposable diapers. The problem with these is that they are so good at their job at wicking moisture away, absorbing wetness, that your child is not aware of the connection between the urge that they feel in their body and the result of getting wet when they pee. Poop is a little bit different, but as they get used to just pooping in their diaper and it being all squished up against their body, even as gross as that sounds, they're getting used to it. And so we are always, all the time, teaching our baby what we want them to do, what we want them to normalize. And so when they have normalized that feeling of the poop is all squished up against their body, the pee is wicked away immediately, that is going to be what they expect to happen. And so when it comes out of their body, all free and wild and not in a diaper, it's going to feel a little different. Another way that you can kind of get them comfortable with this is to just take them outside. If you have a backyard or a yard that is kind of fenced in or private in some way, that's a great place to let your baby just roam free. You could even throw in a long t-shirt or a dress if you have a little girl, so that they can be a little covered but still just be able to do their business anywhere and see what happens. That's gonna just help them, understand what that feels like and get used to the idea of it coming out. Okay, so the second challenge that you are going to have with a mobile baby in that 4 to 12-ish month range is simply that you have to offer at exactly the right time. So once your baby is mobile, they can now explore the world that they have been so interested in up until this point, but haven't been able to reach. They haven't been able to touch it, to go over and check it out. So now, even if they're used to the potty already because you've been doing this for a while now, everything is shiny over there and they want to go check that out. They're so interested. And so they're just not going to want to sit on the potty unless they actually need to go like right then and there. And so your challenge is to figure out exactly when they need to go, really dial in your timing, and only offer at precisely the right moment. So if you have been kind of guess and testing EC up until this point, that's not going to work anymore for you. And you're really going to need to get dialed in on recognizing the signal, understanding your baby's natural timing, being able to anticipate when the signal is coming based on when they typically would pee or poop throughout their day and their normal routines. And when you can anticipate when it's happening, it makes it much easier to watch for the shift that I talk about in my other video on how to recognize EC signals, as well as my free guide that you can download at the link down below if you want to learn more. So when we can recognize that shift, we notice like that's when my baby needs to go potty, then we can offer at precisely the right time and they're much more likely to go. Now, some babies, especially if they need to poop and maybe they're a little constipated because they've started solids now and it's not coming out quite so easily as it was before, they may signal and sit down and immediately get up and walk away. And you may do that 3 or 4 times. And so because it's just not quite ready to come out yet. So if you're finding that that's happening to you, one technique that you can use is to simply carry your baby around diaper free on your body. So you can just hold them on your hip or wear them in a baby sling or baby wrap just for a few minutes, like 5 to 10 minutes. And that's going to allow that pressure to build, and so that the next time they get really, really squirmy and you offer, they're much more likely to go right away. And so one of the baby's really strong instincts is to not soil you, their caregiver, or themselves. And so if you're wearing them and you're putting pressure on their diaper area because of the way that you're holding them, even diaper free, they're very unlikely to have an accident on you, even if they're, used to just using a diaper. As long as the diaper is not there, they're very unlikely to have an accident. And so that's going to buy you a few minutes where you can carry them around, really get, build up that pressure so that next time you offer, they really need to go. So that is super important, and you want to make sure that you are clear on your baby's signals before you attempt to begin or to continue with a mobile baby. It's going to be really hard if you haven't figured that out. Okay, so the third challenge is that because everything is so shiny and exciting out there in the world, once you get them on the potty and you actually get them sitting down, then now you have to distract and engage them long enough for something to happen. Because remember, they can get up off of it on their own. And so you want to make sure that once you get them seated and they actually need to go, then you want to swoop in with the distraction. More on that in a second. Once you get them seated on the potty, and you're going to want to have a potty something like this. So this is a floor potty. It's the Baby Bjorn potty chair. I highly recommend it for older babies once they are mobile, because it has these nice little handles here so your baby can actually hold on to it and sit down on their own. So if you've been using something like this, which is a top hat potty, this is awesome for a newborn baby because you can just hold them over it, take their diaper off, sit their little bump down in there, and it's easy peasy. But once they are bigger and they want to feel independent, they want to do this themselves, it's really great to offer them an option like this where they can actually sit down on their own, get on and off the potty on their own. And so one strategy you can actually use once your baby is cruising is just turn your potty around. So if you turn your potty around like this, can you see that? Okay, so see how I have it facing the wall here? This will allow a cruising baby to stand up, cruise along the wall, and then back up and sit down onto the potty. And so we really want to avoid kind of forcing our baby or giving any kind of energetic that we are forcing our baby, because at this age, they are developing their independence, and there's nothing they want more than to just be able to do it themselves and decide when they're going to do it. And so I mentioned at the beginning that, the Marcus Aurelius quote, "The obstacle becomes the way." Your baby wants to be independent. So allow them to be independent. Empower them to do that. Set them up so that they can come over here, sit down, have things to do there that they can sit and engage in. So once we get them on the potty, the third challenge that I mentioned is that you want to distract and engage them. And you can either do that, with yourself. So if I'm sitting here with my baby and they're sitting on the potty, there's a few strategies that you can try. So number one is just your face, talking to them. Your baby loves you. They want more of you. And so if you can sit here and have talk to them, sing to them, do the itsy bitsy spider, whatever it is, just high quality engagement, face-to-face time, your baby is gonna love that. Because most of the time at this point, especially once they're mobile, your baby is kind of used to you setting them over there on the floor and going and getting on your phone or your computer or what have you. So the more you can actually give your baby what they want, which is that high quality time with you, the more likely they're just gonna sit there and be with you, and then a few seconds later, the pee or the poop is gonna come out because you dialed in your timing and set them there at the right time. Okay, so a couple other things you can try. One is just have a little basket ready. So we have this little basket for our daughter. It's just the books that she likes to read, and either I will read them to her when she was younger, or now she can actually sit down and read them herself. And we also have a few cloth wipes that she can also wipe up on her own. She can pat herself dry, she can wipe up. She enjoys doing this on her own. She feels in control and she feels empowered. You also can have some different high engagement toys. They've seen this one a lot before, but for a while when this was new, they loved this abacus toy. And so we would just sit her down, put this in front of her, and she would just sit there and play for 5 minutes, which was long enough for something to happen. So whatever you have at home, just choose something that either your baby really enjoys or something that they haven't seen before and you only reserve for potty time. So you can bring out that special thing that they only get to use when they're sitting on the potty. A lot of babies also really love to play with your things. And so if you have a toiletry bag or a purse or just anything that they don't usually get to engage with, that's your adult objects, babies love that. So that's another idea for something to engage and distract them. You also can bring a friend. So babies are really social at this age. And if you just bring a bear or a toy or a ballerina, then you can pretend to potty the toy first and then offer your baby the chance as well. And now they're doing it together with a friend, and that sometimes that can help a baby that's not going for it right away, that's a little resistant. Just be social. Or if you have a little boy, bring around their favorite car or motorcycle or something like that. So the name of the game here is to set your baby up for success so that they can get here themselves safely on their own. And once they're able to stand, set your potty up in a space that has a wall next to it that they can cruise over and sit back down. Your baby can actually take themselves to the potty before they can walk. As soon as they can stand, they will be able to go to the potty on their own. So that is some strategies for actually getting your baby to sit here long enough so that they will go potty. Are you enjoying this video? Have you learned something so far? If so, be sure to give me a thumbs up and hit that like button. That helps me reach more people on YouTube and grow this channel here. And if you want more videos just like this, you want to keep learning about EC, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss any of my upcoming videos. All right, so once you've successfully gotten that first catch in the potty with your older mobile baby, the next thing I want you to do, celebrate, celebrate, celebrate. Make a big deal about it, like scream, clap, yell, whatever, dance, whatever your jam is. Let your baby know that you loved it. They just peed or pooped in the potty and you want them to do more of that. Positive reinforcement all day long, okay? So once you get that first catch, you're gonna be excited. Like, you don't even have to try. This is not something you need to remember. I guarantee you're gonna be celebrating. But when your baby sees that, they feel your energy, they're like, oh, mama or papa like really liked that. I'm gonna do more of that. And so it's easier to get the second and the third and the fourth after that once you get that first one. So don't be dismayed if you're having a hard time getting that first catch. You will get there. And once you do, it just keeps building and reinforcing and it's gonna get easier and easier. Okay, so let's talk about now some things that I don't want you to do, some things not to do. First and foremost, never force or pressure your baby to sit if they're saying no. And you'll know if they're saying no. So if your baby is resisting or they're arching their back and they don't want to sit down, that is information. They don't want to sit right now. Most of the time, it's because they don't actually need to go potty. And even if you would like for them to go because you need to leave the house to go to daycare or wherever you're going, they're not going to go unless they need to. So honor their no, because their no thank you, is just as valuable of information as their potty signal that they do need to go. And so we want to remember that we are offering the potty, we are not making them potty. You cannot make a child sit on the potty or use it. So I just want you to remember that. Check your energy. If you're feeling frustrated and your baby's resisting, that's gonna feed into itself and make things worse. So if your baby is resisting, okay, cool, like try again later. And just back off, give it some time, maybe carry them around diaper free, give them some more diaper free time. And when you start to see that energy shift that they're really starting to signal for real, try again. And your baby still may resist. And so I would encourage you to consider, are they still on that first challenge, which is if they've been in a diaper this whole time and they've never used a potty before, are they comfortable with actually sitting on the potty diaper free? And if not, work on that first. Get the diaper out of the way. Allow them to have some accidents. Maybe use some trainers so that they can experience the feeling of wetness without getting all over your house. Whatever you need to do, get them comfortable first before you come back and revisit the potty if your baby is strongly resisting, okay? And remember, your baby wants to feel in control. So the more you can give them a feeling of empowerment and that they're deciding when to go, that they're choosing to use the potty or not to use the potty, the more successful you're gonna be. So follow your baby's lead. Set them up for success to be able to go to the potty on their own, to be able to eventually initiate on their own. Your baby loves that. They love the power of being able to choose. And so when we can put their potty in a safe place near their sleeping area, their play area, their eating area, they're gonna be more likely to want to use it, because ultimately babies do not want to poop on themselves. We've trained them to do so widely as a culture, but they don't actually want to do that. So once your baby realizes that they do have another option, that they are gonna get a chance to sit there, that it actually feels like safe and pretty good to poop in a potty and not on themselves, they're gonna wanna do more of that. So if you've been doing EC with your baby all along and now you're getting into that mobile stage, then most likely if you're having a lot of resistance, it's probably because you're offering it the wrong time and not for any other reason. And so if that's the case, go back and watch the video about dialing in your signals and try to get clear there. Because if you have been offering at specific times throughout the day on a schedule, but your baby doesn't actually need to go, they are going to resist you. They're not going to want to go, and you're not going to be successful. Trying to get your baby to potty on a schedule would be like trying to get pregnant without knowing when you're ovulating. It is not going to work. You are shooting in the dark, my friend. So make sure you dial in that timing before you start worrying that your baby is not actually interested in the potty. It's not that they're not interested, they're just distracted. And there's other things that they would rather do than sit on the potty for 15 minutes when they don't actually need to go. Okay, so work on that first. All right, so that is all for today, and don't forget to download the free guide if you want to learn more about EC. And if you want more personalized support, check out the community. I'll put the link for that there as well. All right, that is all from me. Bye for now. I'll see you next time.